What does a sex educator actually do? I'm here with Reid from ReidAboutSex.com.
I'm here with Cathy from the IntimacyDojo.com. She's sitting right next to me.
Yep. So, Reid, what is it that a if you were defining sex educator, how would you define it?
How would I define it?
Yeah.
I would say, in all seriousness, because I was about to be jackassy, a sex educator is anyone, because it's an umbrella term, because it can look like a lot of different things, but somebody who is helping people understand more about sex, intimacy, I would say communication in relationships too, although that might be like a relationship communication, but it also kind of depends on what you look at as sex. Sexual health, communication, intimacy, like healthy relationships that would also probably include sexuality, sexual health, birth control, contraception, all kinds of stuff. Hormones for when we get older, like it can cover all kinds of stuff.
Right, and it can include, as you said, transgender, people that are transitioning. And I think that sometimes people focus on certain demographics. They might be LGBT or youth. There's some people that focus on...
if you're talking to your kids about sex, you are a sex educator. I mean, you might not be pro making a living at it, but like whenever you're educating people about sex, I think you're a sex educator. It's kind of like Good Samaritan, right? Whenever you're helping somebody, you're a Good Samaritan. And there are people that claim that title, sex educator, very seriously because it is their career, it is their living, it means something very specific to them. For me, being a sex educator, being a relationship geek, people, say I'm an expert at certain things. For me, what I would like to do is empower all of us to be sex educators for our friends, for ourselves, for our children, for our communities. So anybody who's helping people get access and the tools to implement and empower themselves to utilize that agency, to use that information around, accurate information around sexual health and pleasure and well-being. That for me, regardless of your demographic or your niche, whatever your genders, that you serve, or if you're serving yourself, I think you can be a sex educator to yourself.
Right, you definitely can, and I think there's a whole range of what some people just do written, or they might just talk about sex. Other people might do demos. There's a lot of range of how people share the information.
There are people that do show and tell sex education, where they're like, this is how you hand fuck somebody. Like, here, come closer, ask us questions. We could, I have friends in the adult industry who also consider themselves sex educators, and porn performers and adult performers. You have to really ask them how they identify around that, because there are people that are just performers and entertainers, right? Like a Cirque du Soleil performer might not consider themselves a teacher of Cirque du Soleil. Or an educator of Cirque du Soleil in a certain way. So, there are
some people do.
There are performer friends of mine and sex worker friends of mine who, they don't consider what they do sex education, although I know a lot of them answer a lot of questions, and especially my sex worker friends who do a lot of time educating people, like they're doing a certain kind of sex education.
And if someone wanted to find out more about being a sex educator, you have a link for 3 videos they can go to?
Yeah, the easiest link would be to go to reidaboutsexcom, REID, /sexgeekpro, because that's my mailing list and information list for resources just around sex education. And again, then there's like social workers that are doing sex education work. There's everyone who works at Planned Parenthood. There are people that work at sex toy stores and things like that. I mean, there's so many different ways to look at sex education.
And it's so valuable because there's a lot of people that just don't know a lot about it.
Yeah.
So thanks for the question. Please keep writing them in.
Yeah, leave a comment.
Yeah.